Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Feedback Friday.
Welcome to our channel.
So, one of the most exciting formats we have, Feedback Friday, where you send in your work. The courageous ones send in their work to be shown here on the internet and give us 60 seconds to give feedback on what they have done. So, congratulations to everyone who has done it. We'll dive right into it, and for those of you who are just watching today or watching this on replay, I think you're gonna get a lot of value looking at this, and we're excited.
Yeah. So, as we already said, welcome to our channel. My name is Sonia, and this is Gasper. This is Landscapes. Our channel is all about creativity and drawing, and you're welcome to join us in this quest to explore more together, and of course to join us also in such formats as Feedback Friday. Yeah.
All right.
Should we just dive into it?
I would say dive into it. Sonia is going to be looking at the comments, so if you're watching this live, send questions, ask comments, and if you're watching this on replay, you can still, drop us a comment, and we'll do our best to answer it. So,
okay.
I think that's okay. Let me just set this up.
So, as always, we have a certain process. At first, we always look at the sketch or painting or drawing, and we think about what can be done, and then we try to do these changes in approximately 1 minute. And 1 minute is because there are usually more than 10 sketches or 20, and we want to give as many as you the chance to get our feedback. So Gasper is suffering in the process.
I'm sorry.
Sometimes, and I'm enjoying it immensely.
Sonia's always pushing me.
Yeah, I know.
So
I'm like his coach or something.
If you haven't seen it before, you will experience the fury of Sonia now.
Okay.
All right.
Are you ready?
I am so ready.
Oh, you're so ready.
I do have like the 60-second timer.
Yeah, I'm already prepared.
All right.
Also, the timer is ready. But should we say a word or two about the painting?
We definitely should.
Wow, this is beautiful.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really nice canyon. I would totally love to be there.
Yeah, me too. And I'm envy of this painting style because you see how the color is spread evenly. There is no funny strokes of brush.
This is beautiful, right?
I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, like stuff like this, see how this color is really nice. I don't know how, if someone is here who's the author, how did you do this technique? How did you get this texture of the cliffs? I would be interested to hear. This is quite amazing.
Maybe it's also the paper. If you're using the rougher paper, then maybe that can be also the effect.
Yeah.
But what would you adjust?
So I think there is some shadow missing. So unless this is like a really foggy day, it's bounded to be the sun coming in from one direction. So I think one side of the canyon would be in shade and the other not, which would also make, which would throw some shadow on the water, which would give the whole a more feeling of depth. I mean, I always say that you have to give your drawings more feeling of depth, but that's my shtick, just give your art more depth. And if you don't, do it visually, give it a deep meaning.
Yeah, but that's one of the most important things that can change your paintings or drawing a lot. And I would also say that where the canyon or the stone is touching the water, I would add a darker edge to it, and probably also where the vegetation is meeting the stone as well, because usually under the vegetation there's always there's shadow underneath it because the leaves and everything they create some shade. Yeah.
All
so
right.
For 1 minute, I think we're gonna. You can do this, Kasper. You can do this. Okay.
All right.
3. First of all, your brush, is it ready?
My brush is ready.
It's not like, oh, Sonia, no, I can't do it because the brush. Blah.
What?
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Go.
Okay, everybody, so I'm gonna start with adding some shade, yeah, basically shade on this side, because I just decided that the sun is shining in from the left, so the right side of the canyon would be more in shade. So this is what I'm doing now. I'm adding some shade so we can have like a nice darker area there where the canyon disappears. So this is stage one. Now comes the shadow. So now comes the part where we want to add this canyon shadow here. But they're just like about, let's say, on the edge of the shadowy area, like that. So everyone, if you're agreeing with what I am doing here, you know, you can say, yeah, bravo, thumbs up. And if you're thinking that I'm making this thing worse, then you can also say, boo.
Boo, Gasper. Thumbs down.
Thumbs down. Anyways, so let's add some, you know, darker.
Yeah, I would go even darker.
You would go in darker? And there's the 1 minute timer, but I just made it some plants here, some plants there. Boom.
Can you add here another black line, like, you know, dark gray?
You know, let's keep this on record. Like, I wanted already to finish, but you said like add some line.
Well, Kasper, that's how it is. At the end of the day, one person is going to have right. It's going to be right, and that person is not you.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So let's see the before and the after. What do you think? Is it better? Give us a thumb. You can also write. It's fine.
Give us a thumb.
Give us a thumb in any direction you want. It can be like a thumb in some weird direction. Okay, the second work that awaits today's critique
judgment.
is judgment. So the second work for today's for the judgment day is this one. How do you like it?
Yeah, it's a very simple sketch.
Yeah.
With a few lines, but sometimes that's even better than more.
Yeah.
I would probably add something in the background behind the trees.
True, there's like a horizon missing, with at least a line. Yeah.
Yeah, and since this sketch has no frame and is so small, I probably, if that would be my sketch, I would probably finish the tree on the right side. You know, I would just bring it to the foreground even more, and extend it a bit and create like edgeless composition, you know, where the elements are just stretching out of the drawing a bit and giving you like a bit more of the spatial depth. And probably I would also emphasize the point where the direction of water. So the left point in perspective should be dark or somehow emphasized.
Well, I really like this sketch. I mean, also to your point, this is a good idea to extend it a bit upward. So we have this tree, and so we have, you know, space to add this tree. But I really like how the water is done. I like this horizontal texture, because it makes you know, it makes for it, you can create nice reflections with it, and then we have this bright part here in the middle, you know, this thing basically, and this is really nice. So yeah,
it gives some life to the whole situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. So
are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready.
I was born ready.
Okay, then 1 minute should be more than enough for you.
Go. 3, 2,
Start.
Boom.
Start now.
Okay, so we have the horizon line, and yeah, so look at that. You know, you see right away, if you put something in the back, then you already have the feeling that, you know, it has a context. And then, you know, I will listen to Sonia's suggestion this time and finish the tree. Because it is, for the composition, actually, it does really the composition well. One thing to remember when we're drawing trees in winter or without foliage, you know, the twigs go all the way to the edge. You see this edge? Look at that. Actually, they describe the crown of the tree as if there was foliage on it. And they're, you know, they become thinner and thinner, and they, you know, actually, this is, you know, observe some winter trees. This is how trees look. We also did a tutorial on how to draw trees a while back. Look at it. We also talk about drawing trees in winter. And then you have set some darker point on the horizon. So, boom, 1 minute.
Well, I won't say it now. I would continue, but 1 minute is just 1 minute. But basically, I think that's it. You know where we're going with it.
So this is before, and this is after.
Yeah. Can you see how this whole sketch changed just because on the right side there's the whole tree on it?
Yeah.
It brings so much. It really gives you the feeling of the size. With this additional height, we really got the feeling how big is this place actually. It's not like a small stream. It's basically, and these are not
It's a
ducks.
big river.
It's a big river.
It's a major water artery.
Yeah. So the lesson of this story is that try to finish, when you emphasize one element as this tree, for example, try to finish it. So the branches and the twigs and everything.
And if it's your main element, consider first start with drawing that main element and consider the top and the bottom point of this element. I would like, when I would go in this sketch before I would start, I would make a small dot here and small dot here, so I would know, okay, the tree will fit on my page, and then I would draw it out and rest according to the scale of this tree.
Okay, very nice.
Okay. So now we have the next one. Saint
Mouse. Saint Mouse.
Muse. Anyway, native speakers, please.
Maves? Is it
Maws?
Maves?
Maves. Yeah, sorry for butchering the name, but it's in Cornwall, and it's a nice sketch. I like the way the shrubs are depicted in the front. I think it could do with a bit more of differentiation of vegetation.
Or I would probably start with just do a clear transition between layers. So we have this hedge or this wall or whatever.
So layer 1,
and then we have the vegetation layer.
Layer 2, and then we have layer 3.
Yes.
And possibly in the background layer 4. Yeah. So why I would just show you these layers, because when you're sketching and want to create depth in a drawing, it's also a good idea to interchange between dark, light layers. If you're doing it in color, you would do it a different way, but when sketching in ink, this is the method to go. So yeah, I will try to do this now. So I will make, let's say, the first layer dark, then light, or let's say first light, dark, then light, then dark. Yeah, I think this could work. And there's some vineyards here or something.
You just let me know when you're ready.
All right, let me just get my brush ready. Those of you who've been with us in the past ones, you know that sometimes Photoshop does not like me. All right.
I think it's not like it doesn't like you, it's just that it has its own personality,
And the personality doesn't like me.
Well, no, it's just sometimes it doesn't want to do stuff for you.
This is true.
Not because it's just moody, Okay. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, let's go. So I just said the first layer, so this wall up front is gonna stay bright, and then I will make this one dark. Obviously, if you're drawing in pen and ink, you will not be, you won't have like something like a surface like I'm just using. So we would just maybe use a hatch. Just use a hatch to differentiate. I mean, to make it dark. If you just hatch it diagonally, this will give it a feeling of volume, the vegetation, and it will help you create like a surface, an uniform dark surface. So this is already, way better right away, I would say.
True.
So let's go in with a little bit of darker. So I think this here could be a bit more differentiated.
Maybe also here some shade, on the object.
Oh yeah, on the object itself, true. Okay, let's take another 10 seconds to give the object some shade. So Yeah, I know you're counting like that. Okay, finished. So let me let out the numbers. And let's look at it. So this is the before, and this is the after. So how do you like it? Do you think that it worked, that we created a bit more depth? And remember, what we did is, we interchanged bright, dark layer going into the background. And, because I know that the castle is the main focal point, I left it out bright, to stand out against the darker background. Yeah. So,
well, there are many different ways how you can bring one object to stand out. One is with color, one is with details, and also maybe abstraction, or even like less is more in the sense of just leave it blank.
Yeah, exactly.
Leave it empty.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Next one.
Next one. So everyone, if you're getting value out of this, do give our video a thumbs up. Do click gently that like button, because it helps it get out to more people.
And it's also such a nice form. I mean, beautiful.
Yeah, just click that like button.
Yeah, okay. Wow, this is also very nice. I like it a lot.
You know what I like about this one? Not just the painting, but the photograph.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. So
it's like the whole package, right?
The whole package. Is the author here? I mean, it's this. I don't know if it was like photoshopped, the blue background, or is it actually held up against the sky, a clear sky? Mm-hmm. But I think it's a good idea to actually take a photo of your work on a colorful background. Let's say it's a sky, or you just take some uniform color background in a color that is also kind of in the mood of your drawing. So the whole presentation is quite amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And probably because of this presentation, I wouldn't change anything.
You wouldn't change anything?
Completely honest.
Wow.
I think it's so nice. It has like this nice white edge around it, which binds everything together. And also, if we now make two dark clouds, because first of all, of course, we can always work on clouds. It's always a topic. But if we make them darker, they will tend to stand out less, and they will work heavily. We'll have the feeling that they are much more heavy, and then we're gonna need to adjust the layer, the hill in the background, and somehow you miss this balance between colors, because it's very abstract. I
would try one thing though.
Yeah, try it.
I would try one thing. Let's try it out. Yeah. We have the Control Z to go backwards.
Do it.
You can still give me a minute.
Okay.
I will see. Let me take another brush here, because I think this is maybe quite good to have like a softer brush. Let me try this out.
Oh, I really like this one.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so let's go. 3,
2, 1.
Boom.
Go.
So what I would do basically is add some of that white down here. Now, I don't know what it is. Like, maybe it's sheep on a pasture. Maybe it's something else. But I think that, adding, maybe let's be bold. Let's make a building. Let's make a white church here. Oh, let's go. Oh, now I go crazy. Let's look at this. Let's take a complementary color to that blue. Check this out. Now we have like a small village, and now you have like tension. Now you have something going on. Now you have this beautiful cloud, and you have that small element as a focal point. Very fine, but gives your whole image a story.
And the judgment is coming in a form of a big cloud.
Yes, exactly.
Over the village.
Yeah.
Everyone is hiding in the church already.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you think? I'd be interested. Look, this was an experiment. I just tried it out, but I think it has done it
beautiful.
Good. Okay, next one. A nice canine specimen. Drawn. I like the fur. It's beautiful, beautifully drawn.
Because of the directions.
Yeah.
It really is dynamic.
It is dynamic. So, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, something needs to be in the foreground and some things need to be in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's more about the balance.
Yeah.
And what, again, the question is, what do we want to emphasize? What's our main focus?
Yeah, I mean, for example, this looks like very important here, then the dog is obviously important.
Yeah.
And then this is like, they have equal importance. They, because they're equally dark. So I think we obviously probably want to emphasize the dog. And I think that's why we should maybe push the other two into the background.
Or the other way around. I mean, if there is another dark object, we can always try to do a frame. That's one version. We can do a frame with those two elements.
Yeah.
So that the dog is the lightest element of this drawing, or we can do the opposite. We can do the dog darker and then everything in the background.
Yeah. Okay, so which one should we go with?
I would do the frame.
The frame, so darker background and lighter dog?
Yeah, and probably the grass as well. Maybe a bit more here, and give it a bit more grass here.
So it's like dog looking out of the jungle?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a jungle dog. All right.
A jungle dog.
The so-called cane giunglese in Latin.
Okay.
Does anyone know Latin around here? So if no, then I can start talking foolish stuff in Latin and you will not know.
Okay. So, let me know when you're ready.
I am ready.
So you have 1 minute now.
All right. So basically we need to give this dog here a bit of more frame, like Sonia said, right? Well, is this working?
Yeah.
Not really. What did you think, actually?
I thought that you're gonna just emphasize, do a bit more darker vegetation here and here. So, not like I would probably, but at the end, do it transparent. Just lower the opacity, so it's not going to be really dark.
This is a good point. Yeah, true. But you mean like this? Yeah. Maybe like this. So as you can see, a lot of times, like what we do is a bit of an experiment, because we are also not always sure what to do, to be completely honest. And now 1 minute is up, but still, let me finish this here. I think if we want to really push this in the background, it has to be darker than the dog.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. You probably sent us a dog to tell you how to make the dog better, but you did a good job on the dog. You just did too much around it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, often when we work with other students and clients, we try to improve the works that they did. So it's like we have a situation, we have a challenge. How can we draw the best out of it?
Yeah.
And that's what you usually first do, because we want to encourage you as well, just to keep persisting, keep on drawing. That's the most important thing, because you're gonna improve with time. And if we start working on the techniques on the first day, then there's a chance that you're just gonna get bored and
done.
I think it's nice.
So I also added in the white spaces.
Yeah.
It's not completely blank. I added some texture. So let's look. This is the dog before the total makeover. Dog after. Yeah, I think it's much more alive in context. Your eye wanders directly to the dog,
and it still feels nicely, right, with the whole frame. Yeah, I like it.
Okay, let's go on.
So till now, how do you like it? So Louis said, maybe frame on chest, leave a little line of white. That was the comment for the dog painting, drawing.
Any other in general questions? Maybe we're going here pretty quickly, but you can still write us a question in the comments, or now if you're watching live, about a certain thing you maybe didn't catch, and you can still elaborate on it. And have you learned something new today? This is also a question we like to ask, because then we know what actually are the topics that interest you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have a reference photo with this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is the reference photo and this is the painting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thoughts?
Composition.
Composition.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing I would work on.
Mm-hmm.
So before drawing, think about the lower thirds or thirds, the rule of thirds.
Yes.
How to position, because it's very clear, right? Here, you cannot go wrong. You know you have very dominant lines. You need to do something with those lines. And what can you do? You need to think about how to position them because they will not go away. They are so present, and they are also dividing all the different color fields, right? You have above, you have the blue one, you have in the middle the yellow one,
Mm-hmm.
and then also the lower part, the river and the road.
So I would maybe move, and then you have obviously have the focal points where the intersections are. I just divided the paper into equal thirds, and this is where the focal points could be placed.
I thought that maybe even I would give more space above, like for the sky, because now you have here, you have,
Mm-hmm.
for me, how to divide it. For example, these objects that are now in the middle, I would push them down so that the sky has much more space.
Mm-hmm. Good point. So maybe we could try, let's try this. So maybe if we make this a bit smaller. Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, the sky should have more space. You're completely right. So it's not in the, when the sky and when the horizon is completely in the middle of the drawing, it's not so harmonious as it would be if you gave it a bit more space to breathe, mm-hmm. right? So I think it's a good idea to do that when possible, right? Okay, so I already, basically I haven't started yet, but already...
You're preparing.
I'm preparing,
yeah,
but I'm already making a bit ready. Okay, well, I will just start.
Yeah.
I'll just start.
3, 2, 1.
Boom. Okay, so as we already started, basically we need to, to give that sky a bit more, space. Look at it. Look now how basically the whole image is already starting to breathe, mm-hmm. right? So, okay, now we have it.
Okay, so if you want to connect the sky and the road in some way, I would take the same tone that you used for the road, and mm-hmm. I would try to put it under the clouds. So I would try to emphasize the shadow or the shade under the clouds.
So more dramatic,
them,
right?
Yeah, to make them a bit heavier because it looks like the storm is coming, and
it's an aspect of storytelling, yeah. So yeah, this is nice. This is a good idea. So this, when you have such a spectacular sky, but nothing happens there, you have to find a way to emphasize this, and usually giving those clouds a bit more shading is a good way to go. Look at that. Mm-hmm. So basically, we haven't changed much, but we
for 1 minute.
Look at that. So let's look at the before and the after. So before, not so much is going on. Mm-hmm. There's not so much depth, and now after, giving the sky more space. Now suddenly, even I recognize the reflection of the buildings in the water. It's much more going on, and how we position the cars, they're now in the focal point, like in a.
And before that, although not a lot was happening, you had the feeling that somehow it was almost a bit claustrophobic because of all the textures and everything. Mm-hmm. And now you can really see that the whole painting started to breathe a bit more. Mm. And that's just because we changed the
proportions.
Yeah. We changed the proportions of the sky and the road and
Okay. Let's roll over to the next one. All right. Wow, nice. I really like this one. So, oh man, the name is great. It's Mermaid Street.
Oh.
Is it really Mermaid?
Cute.
Or is it the Mermaid? Anyways,
I hope it's Mermaid.
I really hope it's Mermaid Street. It
Because,
is Mermaid Street.
There's a mermaid.
There's a mermaid there.
Yeah.
Wow, where do they have in Rye? They have a Mermaid Street in Rye. Nice. Where is Rye? Looks like a beautiful place.
Catcher in the Rye.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah. So what do we have here?
Well, we have some houses going, I think, down slope.
Yeah.
I think this is depicted correctly. You have immediately feeling that this town is on a hill, goes down, down slope, downhill. What could we make better?
Is the question.
Is the question, right? And one more thing to clarify, probably. I mean, what I like about this is there's actually 2 sketches in this on this page, right? We have
a detail.
Yeah, we have a detail here.
Yeah, Justine just said, that's mine. Yes, it is a Mermaid Street.
Wow, beautiful.
So awesome. I would love to live here on this Mermaid Street.
Yeah. All right, so this is... why do I have these guides here?
You can also hide them if you want.
Yeah, I want to hide them. Just a second.
Yeah, view and clear guides.
Yes, thank you very much. Much better. So yeah, I just wanted to say before that we have this detail, and then we have the whole view. And I like this because this is when you look in a page, you're like, oh, I have a context, and oh, one of the entrances was like this. And I actually, especially when you're like travel sketching, urban sketching, doing these kind of sketches of places you've been to, I like when you basically make more sketches on one page because it tells a kind of a story. Yeah, because it also triggers so many memories. Yeah, it's like some sort of visual diary. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I would now focus on the big drawing here, because I think that is where we can give the best feedback. Okay, so what are your suggestions? I mean, it's hard because it's going downhill, but I think the perspective could be a little bit improved. I mean, it's just like a hinge, because drawing stuff in perspective when it's going downhill, it's hard because no, it shouldn't be hard. Actually, let me tell you why it's weird for me. It's not weird, it's not bad, but I just sometimes it's because when it's going downhill, it's still, the rules of perspective still apply. Let's look at it how. Basically, I would say let's explain a little bit about perspective. Maybe we'll take a minute or 2 more here. So the perspective, the horizon is your eye height, right? So this is not true. What for if you're going downhill? Yeah, so of course it's not true. It's true. It's not true. Sorry about that. I think I was about to explain everything about perspective, but it's no. I think it's actually everything goes like in the direction of the hill, right? So if you have like a road that goes down, and of course the doors are always in the same height, that means that the doors are also traveling downwards. You just need to position them then in the balance, right? Not that it's like a line that also travels down with them. It is what I wanted to say is true. It's true? It's true. Okay, explain. So, basically what is going on here, you drew this is basically your eye height, this orange line, right? So this, if a person was standing next to you, right, they would be that tall. Now, still, all the lines would converge in that eye height because all the houses, let's draw, this is interesting. Well, I need to tell you something in between. So Vincenzo thinks it's not about it going downhill, but it's about the road curving. 3 exclamation marks. But Vincenzo, it looks like the road is curving, this is true, and going downhill. Yeah, I think so too, because you can clearly see that the houses are getting smaller and smaller. And Justine, please let us know what's the situation right here, what we're just drawing. Is it like downhill?
view, or is it just the curve?
So let's say the houses are going down,
Yeah.
right? They still will be, you know, they will still have, all the windows would still be parallel to each other, because this is the way you build houses. Like they all have, you know, even if they're downhill, they all have basically, let's say we're looking into the house now, they all have like horizontal floors, yeah, you know. And you know, sometimes you need like small steps from one side to the
or
building.
a terrace. Sometimes they build also a terrace.
Which means all lines that are parallel in real life converge on the same point on the horizon line. So it means actually, if you know, from all these windows that we see here, if we drew a construction line towards the horizon, it would be parallel.
Okay.
Yeah, let's try this out, people. Let's try this out. I think this is. It would be probably, maybe if we just saw the photo, it would be way easier, but that would be too easy.
Okay, so for this challenge here, I'm gonna give you a bit more time. You get 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I can also try to find a downhill perspective.
I mean, it's a hard challenge because I don't know actually how it was, but still, I think, look, I think this is your vanishing point somewhere. So actually, all the lines should converge in that vanishing point. Yeah, this feels right.
Okay, so we have here a few comments.
Well, then again.
Okay, so Peter said, but if the road is curving, wouldn't each building have its own independent vanishing point
Exactly,
on
Peter.
the horizon?
This is true. This is my problem. This is my problem, to be honest. So basically, only the two buildings here looking, you know, that are the same distance, that are probably parallel to each other, they have the same vanishing point. So yeah, true. Peter, thanks for reminding me. You know, this is exactly true, which means that these windows here are quite right, but then each of those houses has a different vanishing point. So what is actually been nagging me about this perspective is that that is just the windows should basically, you know, look the same. You know, if you have one, they roughly should have the same perspective windows from the same building, which they do, I think, which is quite good. Okay, so Justine, I spend a lot of time now thinking about this perspective, which led to a dead end. I will give you still 1 minute. Let's say the perspective is correct. It's just a very difficult view.
Look, and I found, I googled a bit more about it, so I will post, at least in our group here in the chat, I will post some instructions how to do it. But we need to move on.
Yeah, so, no, I will take 1 minute to give feedback on Justine's drawing, which doesn't have anything to do with perspective, which I think you probably figured out right. Anyways, yeah, a couple of things. I think what was missing here is the background. I'll just start doing the same thing that before.
Your minute is ticking.
My minute is ticking. I will do some shading. First of all, on one side of the street, we probably, you know, have more light than on the other. So I would, you know, shade out, make like a shadow. Look, this is already giving it, you know, maybe it was not such a sunny day. You know, maybe it was more foggy in Rye on that day. But this is already helping. Then I think here in the background, you see, maybe I would emphasize a bit more this this horizon. You know, some things probably, you know, still are happening there. I don't know, maybe you still see parts of the town, or maybe it's the forest down there or something, but it should be some details that are helping us. And then, you know, you could add some shading to the windows. So the windows usually will be shaded from the top, right? When you look into the window, like the top side is a little bit darker than the bottom side. And look at that. This already gives them much more depth, and also the doors, especially the doors, you know, this already gives it a much more depth. There you go. So let's look at it before. it was a bit more flat, and now it has a bit more spatial feeling. Okay. Whew! This was complex.
I would just like to show you something, and maybe you can explain it a bit better. But this is the situation. We're looking downhill.
Yeah.
I also posted you the same thing that we're just watching. So we have the situation where we're just looking downhill, and then, as you said, like you have this
one horizon line. It stays always the same, but the vanishing point shifts on that horizon line depending on the curvature of the buildings.
Yes. Okay. So this is it, and you also have it in the comments, so you can check it out.
All right. So we have a beautiful drawing now of a forest scene. I really love the composition. There is a little bit of tension. This figure is standing under this huge boulder. We don't know. You know, it looks a bit unsafe, but that's the beauty of the drawing, I think, the tension. And we have some detail in front, like this ferns. So, Sonia.
You know what? When I saw this drawing, my first comment was, we need to just frame this person in the middle, because this boulder is so important, and I want to frame this white space.
Yeah.
So I would like to add deeper shadow or shade
on the boulder.
On the boulder.
Yes.
On the lower part.
On the lower part.
So that it really frames this whole painting drawing, and maybe add some lines that guide your eye into the direction of this traveler. So that would be my main emphasis, and I would leave the trees in the background be. You see also here.
Yeah.
You really have the frame with these dark tones, and I would do that here as well.
So so the boulder here should be more dark, also the top side?
No, I would start here and try here, maybe add some lines here, and then I would build up and think about if, for example, this part also needs to be shaded.
Okay, so basically what I will do, I will just go in again with like a gray to just make stuff darker.
Yeah.
And see how that works.
Okay, so this sketch belongs to Anne.
Thanks for sharing, Anne.
Beautiful, beautiful place where you've been. I mean, this is amazing.
This is amazing, really, yeah. Okay.
Where is that? Let us know the location.
3?
Okay, so 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Yes.
Let me loose. I want to draw. Okay, yeah. So like you said, if we emphasized a bit here, the first layer, give it a bit more dark color or shade. It will first of all frame the thing nicely. Then let's go on. Let's give that boulder a bit more drama. Because this is what makes it look scary. And you know, here in the corner, of course, it's even darker. Wow, this is beautiful here. Wow. Okay. Now, I think the figure should be dark. I think also on the reference photo you saw the figure is a darker shape against.
But I would make it even darker.
Yeah. Let's really go dark.
Yeah.
And now it's like an abstract. We just know there is a person and there is danger, and wow, this is good. And now I think just a little bit of shading on this side will do it good. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes such a difference.
Wow.
And now if you want to build up, you can still, you know, where the Gaspar started with adding the darkest gray for the frame.
Yeah.
So the vegetation, the ferns and stuff, you can still build up, and you can still add more details and ferns and the shadow underneath the fern.
Yeah.
And it would look top.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. It really, I think it did it well.
Very nice. Yeah, so Marie thinks shadows are great.
Hey, one tip when you're sketching outside, just get, you have your pen, you have your pencil or whatever, but get like a broad gray marker. Just a second, I'll show you what I mean.
Oh, it's there somewhere.
It's there somewhere.
Yeah. So this was in the Olympic National Park.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so what's with the marker?
So just add something like this. There are numerous brands, whatever, but it's like a bright nib tip marker. And in the end, you can do what I'm basically doing in Photoshop. Just go with gray and add some depth to your drawing, which is way faster than hatching it out carefully.
And for example, we usually use the alcohol markers because the lines between the strokes, they just flow between each other. They bleed between the lines, so you get like even out surface.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what we mean.
Yeah.
The surface is much more nicer. You don't see the strokes. So that's basically it. I think we need to go on.
Homogeneous surface.
Harmonious surface.
I think people, it's our bad English day.
No, it's not. I mean, we're explaining everything fine. There are sometimes where we're just like, bleh. Okay, so
next one.
The
so-called, I would title this one, it would be the dead birch tree.
The birch that
died.
that divided.
The birch that
divided the nation.
And divided.
The valley.
The valley. Well, it is a beautiful drawing. Really, sorry about that joke right away. But it does have a reason. Because you did a really beautiful rendering of, and I really like different textures. But this birch standing, or this tree trunk, whatever it is, standing right in the middle, really divides the drawing into two parts.
Yeah, but there are some artists who put the tree or the tree trunk exactly in the middle. So if you have like situation, so as you said, there's a question of composition, was that intentionally or not? And then if it was intentionally and you wanted to emphasize it, then what's the other solution?
Okay, so what should we try? Either now let's push it directly in the middle and let's do like a central thing, or should we push it to the third and do a more harmonious composition? And what would you suggest? I'm tempted to go for the middle one, because we're always talking about these thirds, and we can show actually how you can also do it nicely if it's in the middle.
Then do the second one.
Yeah.
Or the last one.
Okay, so let me get ready for this one. So this is really interesting. We really usually say, do your put the elements on thirds, and put your elements on thirds and everything. But now let's try by putting. I just shifted it to the middle now, and I think it's already gaining something.
Okay, so petty things that the tree is not very visible. Big white to the right kills it.
Yeah, exactly. This is very true. So this is what I'm also going to try to fill out. Let's go, right?
3, 2, 1, go!
3, 2, 1, go! Oh, it's the most annoying when I start and then my brush is actually not ready.
So for everyone who just joined and never submitted their art before, there are 2 ways how you can submit your art works for next Feedback Friday. And this is, you can DM us on Instagram, linescapes.drawings, or you can also post the work in our Facebook group called Linescapers. And beside that, don't forget to give it a hashtag Feedback Friday, or just write at least for Friday, and then we're gonna know that we're gonna give you feedback on our next Feedback Friday.
Yeah, and we're really appreciating all the courage, and because I know it takes courage to send your stuff out and let someone critique it. So we appreciate that you actually are doing this. Okay, so wow, this has been a journey. Let me just add some more here and here.
Okay, can I also
give
you a suggestion?
Yeah, I always do it.
So I would also, on this side here, I would also make it a bit darker. So I would leave the tree trunk white, but behind it I would emphasize a bit more dark.
So it doesn't really merge with the,
because it's like, it's like it stands there and it's really in your face, and you want to show that.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a complex view. It's hard to say without really having.
Yeah, but that's like a challenge. You can also you can do for yourself, so that you practice and think more in depth. So it's like a creative challenge, and you try to find a solution to it. And this is how you learn.
Let's see if we improved it. So this was it before.
Yeah.
And now this is it afterwards. I must admit, I would need more time to improve this one. But the most important thing I would say already that worked was putting it in the middle and doing it now deliberately. It was just off the middle before.
So what I would add next, because Kasper already started to play around with gray tones and shadows and stuff like that, I would probably also add a bit more of the background vegetation. So you see, like, there's an outline for the spruces, for the spruce forest and stuff. And I would also continue and make it also a bit more darker and probably also a bit higher, so that it really gets a bit more, background, so that it really stands out as an element in the foreground.
Yeah, like this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is good, Sonia. Wow, good suggestion. Okay, very good. Yeah. Okay, let's move to the next one.
Yeah, and things, the tree stands out better, and Marie agrees as well.
This is not the sketch. This is the reference photo, obviously. This is sketch.
Okay, Kasper, I think you need to take a break, just a short one, to give a shout out to dear Michelle, who just gave us a super chat donation. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Michelle. You get a heart from us.
Yes.
And everyone, if you're gaining value from this, if you're learning something new, we'd really appreciate your feedback, to hear what you think about it, what you've learned, and we'd appreciate if you then share it with your friends, so they can also get something out of this. So there are many ways to support us. You can support us through super chats, Patreon, whatever, or you can just also like and share our stuff, and this helps a lot to get this knowledge out to more people.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone.
Okay, so let's continue.
Let's go on. All right, so I like this one. I think it's a very good composition already. I like these birdies. I like this boat, and all we need, I think, is to basically finish it, because this town, the riverfront or the seaside front is detailed, but I think we need to detail it all the way to up to the.
But that's always the challenge, right? You see this beautiful vista. You're, for example, in this port, and you see the beautiful city in the background. And you think to yourself, oh my God, I need to draw this because it's the most beautiful thing I ever saw. But then on the other thing, you're just giving up because you see the whole structure of the architecture and the roofs and the facades and everything. And you're just like, you know what? It's nice, but it's just for me. I'm just not going to draw it. It's too complicated. So Gasper, at this point, how can we draw that kind of view? Very easy, with a few lines. What is your advice if you're confronted with that kind of view?
I'll just show you.
Okay.
I'll just show you what I would do, because I been drawing a lot of these views because I love to draw stuff like that as well.
Yeah, complex.
Okay, so let's just start, and I'll just do it.
Okay, I will give you here a bit more because I really want that you give us your full knowledge. Okay, and you go.
Thank you, and I go. So the thing is, you don't want to draw out all the roofs. You will go crazy. What you do is basically you consider, like, let's say, there is a certain structure always to like a city like that. There are certain lines that are more visible than others. Now maybe I'm making up some roofs, but it's okay. To show you. So I would, I know these two are my focal points. Like, I know this is really important. I want to bring the viewer to this tower or church, and I want to bring the viewer to this one. So
you automatically also raise it up a bit, right?
Yeah.
This focal element.
Exactly. Actually, a bit overdid, or just added a point on the top of the spire. This is a good idea with every tall building. It makes it look a bit higher. And now I basically lead the eye towards those. So I will add more detail to the buildings from the front, leading to the back. You see how basically it's like a walk. The windows can just be basically short strokes. This is enough to understand their windows, and I draw the eye to this one now. And now we still have, and now we take the eye on a walk downhill and get it out in this one. So this is already quite good. Now I just need to connect this to the front layer. So I think the ships need or these boats need a
Can you
little bit
also
of...
just give it like a ground, like a line, so that we know what's water and what's
Yeah.
what's pier and what's water.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So now we have some of these boats. Where is this, by the way? And it looks like a Mediterranean town, possibly.
So this is Frank Sion, and he said he was panicking over all the buildings to draw.
Yes, there we go. Now look at this. So now I'll also make this a little bit darker here, so it connects to the... Now let's step back and look what we did. So basically, the good idea always when doing these kind of drawings is always to step a bit back, maybe even like squint a bit and see, you know, I'm just adding some more shading, just a couple of points to lead that eye to our desired destination. And yeah, this is basically done. Look this, let's look. Without and with it. So it's a complex view. You already did a good job starting it, and all it needs is more shading and more leading of the eye towards your focal points.
Yeah. So focus on one thing and then work on another. There are future steps you can take then. When you're done with that kind of outline, you can then also decide, or are you going to work in black and white and you're gonna color in the water? Are you going to give it more texture and so on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have some stuff that we did a lot of landscape ones today, a lot of urban scenes. We have now some abstract things and some, you know, also other elements. And we got a question for this one, like, it's not finished, but how can I finish this? And I think it's a beautiful pattern, beautiful start. First of all, I have some suggestions. I wouldn't even go to the edge of the paper. Because beautiful things, like one pattern, one small thing, like a flower you draw, it always needs space to breathe. And it's really nice if you leave it blank, if you give it space to breathe. So I see you already started with your shapes, left and light. I won't go there. I would continue and fill out this central one.
Okay, so but still I can understand those geometrical shapes, because I can imagine that maybe whoever wanted to draw this, the person wanted to make it, you know, sometimes we say that it needs to sit somehow. So right now this element is floating, and sometimes we try to put those elements in some sort of composition that can be evened out, you know, because now it's central. If we add something to the left and to the right, maybe just those two lines, it will hold something more. It would be like, you know, it would have like some elements that are just holding everything together. Yeah.
It's so completely interfering now with the artist's own idea, I think.
Okay.
But I'll just try it.
Yeah, sure.
I'll just try it. I think there are two things of value here.
Yeah.
First thing is, I mean, there's only one thing of value, color, that I will tell you now, and the other thing is like my personal idea how to continue this drawing. You do not have to do it this way, but you could. But should you? Okay.
Okay, Kasper, go.
Okay, what I like about this one, look, I would extend the flowers. I would extend the leaves, because this would give me. This would break this frame, and would give me a lot of freedom to anchor it the way I want.
Yeah, anchor. That's the word I was searching for.
Yeah. Look at that. So I would dare to go over that frame. You know?
And that means, you know, you're still very much free. You're not dealing with the lines of this geometrical shape, and you can improvise a bit. You can just draw more intuition based and feeling based.
Look at that. So now we freed the flower a bit. And now the second thing, like, let's talk about color. Let's talk about how you could basically fill in the white. Let's just try this out. What if we added like in this color scheme of yellow, green, maybe an orange or a violet into the white?
I would go with orange.
Go with orange? Let's try this out. I think this could be a nice...
Always go with the orange. Because it's such a beautiful color. You can never go wrong with orange?
Guess what Sonia's favorite color is? Okay, now I'll tell you something about color theory. And
tell us, Kasper,
yeah.
something about it.
So you should be considering when you're coloring stuff, especially when you're doing like, you know, this abstract artwork, consider using color theory. You know, I'll just draw it, color it in very roughly now, but to you know, to bring the point across, consider using a color wheel and the color harmonies. We did a video recently on how to do your own color wheel, and we talked a lot about color harmonies and color theory, so you can definitely check that out. I would recommend it. What I did here is like green and orange are complementary colors, which means they actually look pretty good together when you put them next to each other. You know, they enhance each other's you know, like green, blue-green, and kind of orangey, red-orange is they support each other. And now, what is really interesting, this is like next level color theory, is like when you then add a third color that is close either to green or to orange on the color wheel, then that color becomes the so-called beauty spot. And this is yellow, which is next to orange. And when you add something in yellow in a green-orange scheme, in the complementary color scheme, then it really shines and really draws the attention of the eye. And this is perfect because your flower is supposed to do that. There you go. All right, so this is it. This is like very basic, really fastly done, I would say. Let's see if what I did. So this was before, and this is how I would basically suggest you continue this. Maybe even a bit lighter, more, you know, more careful. But yeah, this would be my suggestion. But as with many of these abstract things, it's a lot of your own freedom.
Nice, I like it. Ooh la la.
Ooh la la. Well, we've got basically almost like a fashion illustration here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like, if the author is here, you know, no pressure. You don't have to say it's mine, you raise your hand. But if you want to, you can definitely say it's mine. You know, I wanted to show this was important. But as far as I remember, talking to the person that sent me, this is like fashion illustration. So I would do a couple of things. When you're drawing people, be more careful with the proportions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're very, you know, even models, like, you know, there's very tall, you know, they have like a certain height about which most models are, you know, men are really tall, women as well. But I think this one is like over exaggerated. So her neck is way too long, her arms are too long, so she looks like a skinny, really, you know, like this skinny.
There are different kinds of fashion sketches.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I know that the fashion sketch is a bit different because you need to emphasize the dress, and because of that, you try to get the canvas, in this example, the model, you need to get it as small as possible. And sometimes you can also take very abstract people or model, where you just emphasize the head and then the dress is like huge and long and glorious. But if you're using realistical models with the face expression and the blush and
Mm-hmm.
everything,
Yeah.
and the lips, then I would tend to more realistic drawing in a sense of proportions.
Mm-hmm.
So then I would probably not exaggerate too much the proportion between the head and the body.
Let me show you this.
Because otherwise it looks like very, very spidery, or, you know, just a bit too stretched out. And Kasper,
yes,
I think you need, again, a small break. You deserved it.
Oh, I deserved a break?
Yes, you deserved a break.
So you can get a drink?
No, yeah, sure, you get a drink. But I would like to give a shout out to Anne. Thank you very much for your kind donation.
Thank you, Anne. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank
you for the support.
Okay. Let's go operate on this one. So I will dare to modify what Sonia said. If you're going for like naturalistic human models, do look at proportions. You know, there are many YouTube videos. Look at how to draw humans, and I think this will help you a lot. Okay, what I will do now, like I think her head. Oh, let me get this a bit better. So I think her head should be a bit more, you know, her neck should be a bit shorter, so it's something like that. Then this is going to be like complete artistic freedom now. You know, I would say maybe this is your decision to do it like this, but you know, let's see how I see this as a composition. You know, I would actually, you know, make her hair longer, because they fit, the longer hair would fit the composition. It would frame her face. It would frame her those quite narrow shoulders. I like your color composition. This is really good. And then if your dress is your emphasis, you know, I would totally think about shading of the dress. I think you could like go here inside with it.
So in this sketch, there is no legs, right? It's just, or is this person sitting?
I'm not sure. It looks like the person is sitting on a bar stool.
Ah, just the stool is missing.
I think the stool is missing. I would now interpret this like this. And look, now I would.
But I would add the stool or something, you know.
Yeah, we can add the stool. So we can add some shading to the clothes. Also, you know, look at how to draw. You know, this is hard to tell really fast, but look at how to draw fabric. This is a good way for you if you're into fashion illustration to start. So now, and then let's say we have also it's like stool thingy here. Immediately it makes us more comfortable watching this figure. Right. Boom.
It's very nice.
Yeah, okay, let's fill this in. Okay, so I hope we helped you with this one. All right, let's move on.
How many do we still have, Kasper?
We have a couple. Should we
How many?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left.
Okay. I think we can manage those, right?
Yeah, let's manage those. Let's go. Okay, arachnophobia, people, look away. I'm sorry, a spider is there.
Okay.
So this one was drawn by a friend of ours, which we had no idea can draw that well. And, you know, he sent us and was like, oh, look, I just did this. This is my first drawing on the iPad. And we were like blown away. What?
Yeah.
Amazing. So this was his reference photo. Nice spider. And this was his drawing. Like he also did the highlights in the eyes of the spider. I mean, crazy. Yeah. Pretty good. I really like it. So what kind of suggestions could we give him?
Well, I would probably add some more of the line for the head, so that it would be because of the okay, I'm telling this because the background with the floor and the sky has the same color, so it looks more like a rendering than anything else. So yeah, that's the first thing I would add, like a bit more clear line so that we know that this is the head and this is the sky. And then the other thing is, I would probably, since the spider is so realistic, I would do a realistic shadow.
Yes, this is very good. So, okay, what a realistic shadow, what Sonia means is basically we need to connect this spider feet to the shadow. So shadow will always be the darkest and will start at the point where it touches the object, right? So, and then it will fade away, you know, so like, this is where the legs would be. And then, because we have this spider here, let's make a shadow.
Okay, so I give you now 1 minute to finish this off.
Yeah, so I'm not really exactly mapping out that shadow, but you know, it gives it a bit more realism. Look at that.
Yeah, I think what's missing is that these legs break, right? It has like this break. It has many
missing from my shadow, or
yeah, but you know, it has many links.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like that, the shadow. I would have to, look basically, but I think we came close with the shadow. And now this white spot here, I think it shouldn't be white. I think we should, put in some gray. Yeah, like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Nice spider. Okay, good job. Keep drawing.
Yeah. You must.
I hope you have. I mean, if you're having fun, of course.
Yeah.
If it's just like, gosh, Persona said I should draw, then yeah, don't. All right. So, what is this? What are we looking at? Is it a fish? Is it a plane?
Probably a Superman.
It's a drawing of a footage of a drone footage or something from above. A drone footage of a road, and a good challenge, I think, to draw from something from above, especially because drawing something from above is always less recognizable. Yeah.
Yeah. What's this medium? Is it acrylic? Let us know. We didn't figure out what it is. Yeah, but what would you change here, Kasper?
Okay, so basically, when you have like something, drawing from up or down, then the shadow is always coming from the same side, because there is sun, and the sun is always, coming from the same side. So I think I will just do some work with the shading.
Because the colors are very well balanced out, right?
The colors are the colors are great, I would say.
Yeah.
So let's just go with the, yes, I think this is a good idea to go with some shading. Okay, so you give me a minute?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
I'll give you a minute.
So let's say the sun is coming from bottom right. So I will basically shade in all these trees and everything from the top left, obviously, right? So we would have a shadow here on this side. Look at this. This is immediately becoming more three-dimensional, and you can imagine it is actually a a forest viewed from above. Then we have maybe this is something like this. Maybe I don't know what this is, but I love looking at Google Earth. I can spend hours looking at stuff from above. Okay, so now we need to highlight a bit the opposite side, I would say. So we go more into white and green. So now the side that is facing towards the sun, this is the side of these leaves that you should be highlighting. So, you can also do some shading and highlighting with colors. So do the more brighter tones on one side and the darkers on the other. And that's it.
Finish.
Let's look at it. Before, quite flat, now feeling of 3D.
You really get the feeling that the tree layer is really one additional layer on top of the ground, right? Yeah. That's what we're after.
We're doing this a lot. As landscape architects, we create floor plans to explain our designs, and shading trees is like, I do it every day. I mean, I don't want to say it's like, piece of cake, but I did a lot of these. Yeah. All right.
Okay, very nice.
Okay.
Oh la la.
Oh la la. I mean, look at that ass. Wow.
The curves.
The curvature. Yeah. Awesome. You know what I like about this one? I like the color scheme, and I think we could even get more out of it. Because it's red and blue, and actually, I think orange and blue would be more contrasting. It would be like a complementary color. Yeah. Or orange and magenta, maybe magenta. Orange and magenta.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. And then we have the same thing, and then the yellow shouldn't be yellow, but it should be more orange. And then we have the same beauty spot, like you are drawn to the beauty spot, which is in this case then, that's really
behind.
It's really, really well defined. Yeah. Anyways, let's try this out.
Okay. Is 1 minute enough for you?
Yeah, I think 1 minute would be enough.
Okay. So
I'll try to basically select this and get some orange in here in the house.
So I already started the clock.
Like magenta. So it's going to be more like a magenta red. Check this out. What? Okay, maybe this is a bit too much. Maybe I should desaturate it a bit. But okay, I think I like this more. I'm still not 100% sure.
Well, it's not so heavy anymore.
It's not so heavy anymore.
Because, of course, you can also use complementary tones, but you don't usually, or say like this, it's not necessary that they work well if they are in the same color group or in the same tone, right?
No, exactly, not necessary.
You can always try to add some more white or some more gray or some a bit more black, and through that you change the balance between color. And since the red was so present, there was so much of red, and red is pretty heavy color.
Red is pretty hard to work with, yeah.
That's why, because we changed the color into this lovely shade of pink or magenta, you can really see that this painting now looks much lighter.
Yep, I would say so too. Let's just compare it, because it's an interesting comparison now. You know what happened basically. If it's okay, so this was before, like yellow, red, blue. Now we have a like a pink, kind of magenta, blue, orange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On our screen it doesn't look so wild, but when I compare it with our streaming program, it looks like so wildly pink.
Yeah, violently pink.
Violently pink.
All right. Moving back into some architecture.
Gasper, you need a break.
I need a break.
You need a break.
I need a break. And the break goes with a heart.
To Xian.
So thank you, Xian. Awesome. For we're really thankful for your support. Along with everyone else as well who is supporting us during since we've been doing this.
Yeah.
And we really love the community that has emerged around this live streams and our channel. And tomorrow we have I'm really looking forward for tomorrow's live stream, because it's, I think, one of the more important ones we've done, right? Tomorrow we're going to talk about struggles of creative people. So if you're a creative, what are your struggles? Send us your questions on Instagram, on Facebook. Like, tell us, what do you struggle with? And tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central European time, or it's 10 a.m. Pacific, we'll look at artist struggles, and you can ask us questions. We talk from our perspective, and I think it will be great value. And meanwhile, I'll just go into this one and try to correct it, because I think Sonia is busy looking for something.
Yeah, I will just write a question also in our Facebook group. So it's not necessary that you write it now in the chat. You can also just join our Facebook group, or just go there and answer the question for us, so that we have some topics for tomorrow we can discuss. We would like to hear your opinion and the creative struggles that you have.
Because we've noticed this is like one of the most we get a lot, of course we get a question, how you draw a tree, or what's the favorite pen you use. But I think the most help we can give is basically by really talking about this meta stuff, like in general about producing creative work. How do you feel about it? How do you start? What do you do if you're not inspired, or how do you find inspiration? And stuff like that. So we notice that we're helping people most when talking about this kind of things. So I think I hope tomorrow you can join, and we'll chat about this stuff. Also, for people who are doing this professionally, they have to be creative on demand, and as well for the people who are doing this as a hobby, so they don't lose all the joy if it's not turning out the way they expect it to be. Okay. So, Basic Ruins 101. I just finished this one. Let's look at the difference. So this is really flat. It's like, it looks 2D. But obviously it's a building where the back part is missing. So we need the back layer to understand that it's three-dimensional. So I just added, like, in the back, in the shade, some of the jagged ruins. And now we have a feeling we're looking into really like a shell of a building that is no more. All right, and now we are coming to our final one, and I saved my favorite one for last.
Yes. Oh, I was also looking forward.
I was looking forward to this one. This is beautiful. So this is absolutely stunning. You know, you should be proud of doing this. You can gladly tell everyone if you want to who that is yours. It is a Chinese style. I don't know. Is it Chinese ink or is it watercolor? But it looks like Chinese ink. It's beautiful and beautiful technique, beautiful composition. Colors are amazing because it's just tip of red, you know, and also then the red seal on the left upper corner. So all I would do is a bit emphasize the. I mean, I'm not an expert in Chinese painting, but I've seen a couple, and I think the similar rules apply. I would emphasize the tops of the mountains, and then let them fade away direction bottom.
I would do something different, and I would actually do the same thing as you said, because that's something that I really noticed that I would like to emphasize. But I would probably just do a bit clearer line between the mountains and the sky.
Yeah, so that's what I meant.
Right now it's really very foggy, very soft, and I would try to create like really nicely defined line, because it's very fine painting, right? It's like almost fragile a bit.
It's like so fragile. I'm like afraid to do anything. Now I think this one, look, I think they should overlap a bit, so we can understand there too. So I think
everyone says it's beautiful, and we agree.
Yeah. I mean, there are certain principles. I mean, Chinese painting it has such a long tradition, and is so important to Chinese culture as a whole, because so many things came out. I don't know if you know, but Chinese gardens actually started as Chinese paintings. Like first there were the paintings, then they liked the paintings so much that they wanted to do the gardens. So I think this is an interesting point to know. Anyway, what I did now is just define a bit black line.
Can you also somehow emphasize this person in red, because I just discovered that's a person and I didn't notice at all.
Look at this. What is missing? I think
it's a reflection in the water.
Yeah. I think we're missing a reflection and a shadow in the water of the bridge.
So we're getting some comments like didn't notice the bridge, for example. So Louis also said, what about the bridge? Seems not titled right.
Yeah, it is a bit, the bridge is, let's say, not completely correct perspective-wise, I would say. I mean, it doesn't look like a nice arch, which doesn't even bother me in this case. A lot of Chinese drawings didn't bother with perspective.
Yeah.
So it's completely fine. And then there's these houses. I think those houses should be a bit more emphasized. So I would go with a bit of a watercolor. This is Chinese watercolor, right? So I'll go a bit more in the back of I will add some of this vegetation, that you drew at the back of these houses, so we can emphasize them. We give it a story. So the traveler is going away from home on a snowy day. It immediately has a story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Beautiful. Wow, this could be a challenge, like trying to do Chinese style painting, Sonia. This is amazing.
Yeah. Without practice, that would be so beautiful.
So let's see if I manage to make it better. So this was before, and now this is with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is an improvement.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Wow. So we had this was a marathon, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it was very productive. I enjoyed it a lot as well. How about you?
Yeah, tell us. And meanwhile, let's tell you what is happening in the next days. So tomorrow, let's talk creative struggles. Send us your questions. I think this is going to be a really good talk. I'm really looking forward to this.
And then on Monday, we're having a creative muscle workout. As every Monday, Mondays are dedicated to creativity.
Yes, and Mondays will stretch those creative muscles and bring you to the next level. And we'll probably help you with a couple of those problems we'll be talking about tomorrow. So yeah, do join us tomorrow for the chat. It will be mostly talking, but I think there's going to be a lot of good things, good things that you can take with you. So tell your friends, your family, invite them to the live chat. Subscribe if you haven't yet.
Give us a thumbs up.
Give us a thumbs up.
If you haven't yet.
If you haven't yet. And yeah, remember next Friday, Feedback Friday, so send us your work for next week.
Yeah, so till then, you know what to do.
Keep on drawing.
And stay creative.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for joining.